Well, one, I don't produce the podcast, so I am a co-host once a week. So I don't produce the podcast, but I would say some of the challenges like production wise is that we never had a podcast before. So it's all like learning how to do all the technical stuff on the fly and then just scheduling the time to actually sit down and film. Cuz we got lives, jobs, school and pets and all kinds, we have lives, so it that part is hard. Sometimes we're tired and it's a weekly show, so sometimes we're tired. So there are those days where you're just like, I really just want to take a nap instead of filming. But then, but honestly, what comes back to me every time I have those moments where I'm like, I'm tired or I'm busy and I don't feel like doing this is like the audience. There are people that tune in every week and like I hear from them
Mhm.
tune in every week, to hear what we have to say and our take on things and hopefully to learn something maybe they didn't know before. And it's the same way I approach like anytime I have to present something. It's like the audience has some information I have information that y'all need to know.
Mhm.
And I can't just, walk away from that if I feel like I could reach somebody somewhere.
Yeah, I guess I did an interview and I'm going to be on another podcast and I'll let everybody know when that comes out. But it was, what did you start the podcast for? And it was really, I love teaching
Mhm.
and I love learning. And that's another reason why I do the interviews and I bring on people is because like, you have something really interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, come on the show, let's talk about it. And then I
Yeah.
learn stuff, and then hopefully the audience learns stuff too. The most challenging thing that I found producing was producing personalities. And not just you,
Yeah.
but myself as well.
Yeah.
It I had to, and I'm still learning how to not get up on my soapbox, especially when I do my private show, when it's
Mhm.
just me, not get up on my soapbox and start lecturing.
Yeah.
Um, I wish I had the ability like our father has. Our dad has the ability to challenge your thinking without insulting you, and
Mhm.
he'll just like, explain what you mean by that. While
Yeah.
I'm more in your face, I wish I was a little bit more, I don't know what the right word is, but just a little less being too
Just
much.
a softer touch,
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wish I had a little bit more of a softer touch. Producing the challenge in producing, especially during the election, was maintaining my sanity.
Yeah.
Um, because there's information and content that people are coming to us and they want to hear our perspectives. It's not unsolicited. They want to hear our perspectives.
Yeah.
And it's just like, God, I really don't want to talk about this because I have to prepare to talk about this.
Yeah.
And preparing to talk about this, doing research on it is just like, wow, people are really the worst right now.
Yeah.
And so that's challenging of producing the podcast. But post production can be challenging at times. But that's also like I get a kick out of it. You've been telling me
Yeah.
for the longest when we started, it was like, hey, you had to hand that off. And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna hand that off. I kind of
I
like doing
mean,
it.
eventually, I would love for us to have a producer so that we don't have to, especially you, don't have to do this stuff. But you're absolutely right. I think probably the biggest challenge is the emotional labor sometimes that we put
Mhm.
up with, especially topics that hit close to home or we just know are affecting a lot of people. Like, I know that this president is I
Mm.
can't even say the word because
Mm.
the person occupying the White House is what I've been saying, that it is just I mean, I've known people who have lost their jobs. I know people who whose jobs might be in jeopardy because they work in DEI, things like that. So it's really hitting close to home. So that emotional labor sometimes is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. All right. So that answers that question. Next question. How long did it take for you to grow your audience to its current size, and what strategies worked best for you? It took us 2 years to grow it because it's still growing.
Yeah.
It's still growing.
Yeah.
I would say year 1 to 2 was our explosion,
Mhm.
especially on YouTube. But not just that, just the streams from the audio.
Yeah.
Just so many downloads from all over the world. How did they find us? Because we have a presence online. That's the only thing that I can think of,
Yeah.
right? Like, even if you don't follow us on Instagram, and our follower group is growing on Instagram.
Join the conversation and follow the Unsolicited Perspectives podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your audio podcasts.